Let's see. What is this about? Let's see if we feel they
Everyone
are
looks
confirming
at
it.
the massive success of games like old school RuneScape, that have become super popular by implementing a permanent, non-seasonal, classic version of the game with consistent updates that are, basically polled and voted on by the community on a monthly or, bi-monthly basis. Basically, are there any plans to maybe do something like this with Classic going forward? Maybe called Classic Plus or, something like that.
What we're doing as a team and try to think about why we're doing it. Like, why do we have an experimental, seasonal server, like Season of Discovery?
First time I ever heard the word experimental for Season of Discovery. There you go.
Why are we trying out vastly different types of raid designs and difficulties? Why are we creating brand new tier sets and trying to make classes that were vastly underrepresented more represented and enjoyable? I think we may stretch too far in terms of how we push the limits of what is acceptable within classic traditional classic design for Season of Discovery, but a lot of that's purposeful. So just without saying anything, I think people can maybe infer a lot of stuff from what we've been trying to do and all the different things that we've put forward to players, and how we consistently ask for feedback and ideas and what people are comfortable with and what people are uncomfortable with. Not everything in Season of Discovery is meant to be, a straight up banger. Like we intend for some things we obviously want everything that we put out to be amazing and received well, but it's okay if it's not. And that's a lesson for us to take forward on whatever we work on in the future. So
yeah, almost as important as finding what works is finding what doesn't. Because I think if we had gone back to November and said this is Classic Plus, I think we would have it would have had a different connotation, different way of thinking about it, and things like that. And so this is why this is our sort of test bed. This is the fertile ground to be able to kind of grow ideas for.
3 months ago. Okay. Took 3 months for them to come out and say something like that, but I would have said that day one.
Yeah.
That, hey, this is what that's supposed to be. And I think that was a little bit of a mistake, personally. That would have had a different reception from the player base. And I think it's okay to lay your cards out like that. I think that should have been exactly what they did. I'm very surprised they didn't do that. And I feel differently about SOD just hearing that. I no longer treated it, well, I originally treated it as like, this is the thing. This is like their main season, their main game. I always hated the season thing. Not a fan. Don't like that my characters have a death sentence day one. But if they just came out and said that right off the bat, I'd still be playing today. Because I'd be a lot more forgiving for the mistakes, a lot more forgiving of the lack of balance and the destruction of my favorite class, Warrior. I'm talking about phase 1 and 2 Warrior. Hated them, especially phase 2. Really hated them. They're apparently lovely now. Warriors are apparently fantastic. But it's hard to stick it out thinking like this is anything but a test. This isn't a testing ground. This isn't a place for them to see what works and what doesn't work. So this essentially confirms a Classic Plus, to be honest. It essentially does confirm it. I mean, I think we all kind of knew it was coming, and it makes sense for this to be a testing ground. The big question now is, what do they think worked? What do they think did not work? Because that essentially will tell us how is Classic going to be shaped, how Classic Plus is going to be shaped. The rune system and stuff like rogue tanks and mage healers, I think that's too far. That's too wacky. It's too outside of Classic. Classic should remain Classic with more. That's what Classic Plus should be. Your vanilla WoW with more content, more raids, more gear sets, world bosses, new zones, different things out there, new battlegrounds perhaps, more PvP ranks, more. Not wacky and different. I think that's the mindset that you gotta hit the development with. Is just don't make it different. Try to expand upon what we already have. And I know vanilla WoW is not great for every class. As a warrior tank, obviously things are pretty good for me in vanilla WoW. There are classes that don't have that, and I know they got to be fixed. They got to be altered in that regard. I will die on this hill. Ready? Paladins and shamans need to be on both factions. I will forever die on that hill. It's too hard to make things work. Things get way too wacky. Okay, you don't have Blessing of Kings. We know it's overpowered as hell if one side has it, so you're going to get it from a hunter that has a specific pet or puts on an aura, and then you'll get Wind Fury from your druids, but it's better than the Wind Fury from the shamans, and then it just... You give more variety and you give a more balanced gameplay to all players if you add them to both factions. Please trust me. Trust in me with this. If you take one thing from me ever, please. You gotta believe us here. This adds so much more variety. Not even just to raid comps, but what people can play, what people can do. Damn the naysayers. I'm gonna say it. Damn the naysayers, because they don't get it. They don't get it. There's a lot of biased people in there that'll talk about this and talk on this topic, and I've done a whole video on it about how it's unbalanced. I think we all know that. People might not want to admit it, that Alliance have it easier in vanilla. That is what it is. I mean, that's the reality. I'm glad they at least kind of acknowledge that for the first time ever with SOD. I guess you could say they acknowledged it in BC when they originally launched it and fixed it, but in vanilla, in like a classic type of environment, SOD was the first to do it, right? They did the shamans and paladins. They kind of brought the buffs along, but it was a little too wacky in my opinion. It was too hard to get it right, and it was so different from vanilla that it was just like, why not Classic Plus us? That could be one of the big draws for Classic Plus. You could play a paladin right off the rip, be an undead paladin if you want or something. I don't know. Or you could do Tauren if that's your thing, whatever. And then Dwarf Shaman or something. I don't know. It adds more variety. You can't tell me right now if there's an Alliance player watching this that you wouldn't play a Dwarf Shaman in vanilla WoW. You probably would. There's probably some people out there that'd be like, hell yeah, that's incredible. That adds so much variety to groups, to raids, to gear acquisition. There's a lot more variety in your raid, and it makes raid comps easier to fulfill. Horde have a problem with magic dispels. You have to stack priests like crazy, while Alliance have it easy because paladins can dispel 3 things. That's got to change for Classic Plus. But I'm going to end my rant here. This is exciting. This is cool. I just wonder, what do they think worked? What do they think failed? Because that will let us know. Are we going to get that rune system? Are we going to get rogue tanks? Are we going to get mage healers in Classic Plus? I hope not. The rune system wasn't horrible, but it needs to be dialed back a bit. Dial it in. But maybe that's what it is, Go crazy in Classic in SOD and dial it back down for Classic Plus. Give us more of what we like. More content, more world bosses, ranks, PvP ranks, maybe another Silithus-like event. That'd be cool. And then, I don't know, new raids and stuff. Good stuff, though. I like this. I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to upload this. Catch you in the next video.